Yo, 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 yo. Sorry I'm late, champions. What's new? You know, Brad's Guitar Garage is give or take 15 minutes, you know? Maybe not what you signed up for, but anyway. How are we all? What's going on? Sorry to disturb you. I noticed you're having a nice little chat amongst yourselves, which is what I want. That's good. All messages. Be sure to change it over to all messages instead of top chat, because top chat's just it randomly filters out conversation for no apparent reason. All right. What town country are you all from? Everyone's answering. We've got Maryland, USA, Portugal, Anchorage, Alaska. Wow. Colding, Denmark. Nice. I love how international this is. It's not just Australia and US. It's everywhere. It's awesome. YouTube needs a ish for Brad's time. Yeah. I slept in. What am I going to tell you? I didn't know you're in Alaska, Mark. No wonder you're always smoking meats. You ever smoked salmon, Mark? I was thinking about trying that one time soon. From what I gather, you start the smoker and pretty much choke the thing out completely and have a bowl of ice under the fish so it doesn't really heat up. It sort of makes the bullet smoker like a cold smoker. That'd be cool. If a guitar makes you smile like an idiot when you think of playing it, then that is the right guitar. True words, Magisterium. You summed that up rather well. Danish butter cookies. Can filled with needles and spools. Yeah, that's the thing over there too, is it? Over here, yeah, it's all the sewing or knitting needles and stuff. I don't know why we choose to use that tin specifically for sewing stuff, but it seems like a worldwide thing, not just Australia. Cool. Sorry for just one video this week. Stream tomorrow though. That's from Lyle. Yeah, I feel you, buddy. It's been 15 hours a day every fucking day, 7 days a week. No time for anything. I barely have time to do the washing, let alone edit video or film it for that matter. And I'm still not working hard enough. I'm still getting told by everyone that I'm too slow and I'm not doing enough hours, apparently. Oh, Jacob K Guitar bought an old Carlsbro PA-60 5-channel, apparently with mullards. It has 18 knobs on the front. Going to scrap it and rebuild it. Any ideas? Haven't decided on PCB. Mate, I'd probably just restore that because it's so far from the architecture of what you're aiming for. It's probably not worth converting that. You could steal the transformers and just make what you want, but you've got to sort of balance. Am I reinventing the wheel here, or am I restoring something, you know? I'd suggest probably not. But you know, you do you. You'll have plenty of ventilation with all those extra knob holes that you won't need with a guitar amp. Yeah, see, a JCM 800's got like, what, 6 knobs? So you're using less than half of the holes. Somebody pop a Guinness, he'll show. I do love Guinness. I saw a video recently where they tried to feed these American girls Guinness and they almost fucking vomited. It's like, grow up. They probably only eat chicken nuggies too. Fucking. Anyway. So, we're going to start with a little bit of a fun thing. There we go. No, wait. Workbench. There we go. So, you probably saw the post I put up recently. I acquired this Simpson 260. That looks a bit cold to me. I think we need to change the white balance. That looks a bit nicer. Simpson 260 Series 8. You can see there it says Series 8. Ding. Beautiful original condition. I tested it against my HP, and it's well, you know, it's accurate-ish for voltage. Of course, 0 ohms, you've got your adjustment there, so the resistance meter can be a bit out. So this was calibrated recently, so I'll sort of compare everything to this. It's my HP 34401A. I think Frankie's got one of these. So it's like a, I forget, 5.5, 6.5 digit meter with the 4-wire Kelvin thing. So it essentially negates any lead resistance in its measurements by measuring the lead resistance. So each one of these wires has 2 wires in it, and the little brain box in there measures either the voltage drop or the resistance of the entire length of that wire, and then it uses that to calculate very accurately the resistance. Not only that, but you can also null out any like resistance on the probe tips by using that null button there. So you can set it to like 0.0000 ohms. And it's very, very handy. The main reason I got it is for finding short-circuited, mainly semiconductors, in large systems like mixing consoles or, you know, digital equipment, where there may not be any other indication of what's gone short other than resistance to ground or resistance from rail to rail. So what you do is you use that to pinpoint where it is, because you measure from, say you've got a short from the positive 15 volt rail to ground, you'll measure at the power supply, it'll be like 0.8 ohms, and you'll measure on maybe one of these boards, it'll be like 0.3 ohms, and you measure closer to where the problem is and it's 0.2, 0.1, and then eventually you'll find wherever the short circuit is the lowest resistance. And because it's so accurate, you can very accurately test those low resistances to pinpoint where the problem is. Oh, so I can't find my little camera base. I don't know where it's gone, so bear with me if the camera framing's a bit off today. Anyway, I tested it against that, and she showed up pretty accurate. Put some new batteries in there. The one annoying thing about the Simpson meters is they've got a female on the test leads, whereas pretty much every other's got male. So you're kind of locked into buying their leads. You see there, that's just off my Fluke. That's a set of what are they? Mueller leads there, off my Fluke 179. But you can see they're female, so you can't use your average test gear, test lead, sorry. But it's still a current model. They've produced, I think, Series 8 has been live since the 90s. It's hard to find definitive info on manufacture dates and whatever. But yeah, she's a current model. You could go buy one of these today from Mouser for 800 to 1200 Australian dollars, so like 400 to 600-ish American dollars, and that's just I think that's just the bare meter, whereas this one came with the roll top case, which is pretty cool, but I'll probably never use it other than storing it when I'm not using it, since this will have a nice cozy workshop to live in. But it's got this funky ass case. Sorry, I got some bits and pieces in there. Got the alligator tips, the fixing hardware for fixing it in this thing, and the handle for the top. But it's got this funky roller door. There's a bit of ASMR for you. So the meter can live in there, and it screws to the sides, because they are kind of designed for a pretty harsh industrial environment, and that that can take a hard hit. Not her thing. But it is fun to use. It's cool to put on like the plates of an amp and watch them, how much the voltage sags when you're using it and whatnot. You can actually visually represent what's happening. And Dad was saying it's good for things like tuning radios, because you can see where the peak is, whereas it's not so oh God, words aren't working, intuitive with a digital meter, even if it does have a bar graph. Because yeah, these have got a little graph down the bottom there, and if you set your range, they can be a bit annoying if it's in auto ranging. But yeah, you can set your range, say ohms, say K. Come on, champ. I'm particularly dry today. So you can see there, you can sort of get a representation with that bar graph. But she just ain't the same as a weighted needle, mate. And it's just a beautiful thing. I could sit and watch this all day, doing nothing. So I got that for $100. Shipped from the States. It's 100 Australian, so that's like fucking $3 American. But previously, I got this little bad boy. So it's hard to pinpoint the date on this one, but it's a universal AVO meter, model 40. Big bastard. Look at the size of it. It's almost the size of a 6-pack of beer. And they produced this one for a long time, but I think they started producing it in like the 40s, something like that. And she in such good condition, it looks like it was made yesterday. This thing has been babied. It hasn't seen much work at all. But I've just got it on the shelf here just as a cool thing to look at. I've got it sitting next to a Splawn amp up there. Just gives the crazy scientist vibe, you know. The problem with these is they need a battery that's now obsolete. So you can see the spray paint marks on that. See that? Like a bit of a sag from painting. So I don't know if this has been resprayed. Like maybe the unit's been restored by someone. Some old timer in his garage has found one and cleaned it up. So I'm not sure what even batteries are supposed to be in this thing. Is that, I don't know. So that's a position for, they used to have these 4.5 volt cells. Not cells, multiple cells. And they were mainly designed for radios and stuff, but you can't get them anymore. So I don't know if we've got to 3D print something, or if someone still makes a version of it or an adapter to suit, but it still works in voltage mode. However, the calibration's out quite a bit, so I need to get the manual and figure out what's going on when I have a minute. But in the meantime, fucking looks cool, doesn't it? Like the hot dog meter. Whereas I think I don't think they're D cells in this because they won't fit, and you can see there's 2 contacts next to each other and below each other. So whatever battery it is supposed to have 4 of them in this area, and the D cell almost fills that whole area. So she ain't a D cell, and you can notice there's only contacts on one side. There's none down here. So whatever it is, it's like an overgrown 9-volt battery or 2 of them. But I think it was kind of before the battery sizes were like officially standardized. So whatever it is, I can't find it anymore. It was a 15-volt battery in the AVO 8. Well, this is an AVO 40. She comes with the original leather carry bag box thing. Even this has had a pretty easy life. You can see someone's repaired it a few times. She's got the manual in there. Maybe this will tell us something about the battery. Oh yeah, it came with the leads too. I forgot about that. Look at these chunky bastards. Mega brand. AVO. They are the original leads. AVO brand. They've got the original boot on there. And everything. Wow. It smells old. Not particularly musty for something that's this old. User manual. Battery. Instruments are supplied less internal batteries. Yes. That's a good thing, because if they were still in there, they'd probably leaked all over the joint. So a cool bit of history, this. So it doesn't mention battery type. I don't know. I'll look further into it. It would be nice to use that, but let's face it, it's mainly bought it for its looks. Call me shallow. But isn't it a beautiful thing? No, those switches have the most satisfying little click. High quality gear. Anyway, enough of that meter porn. Put that aside. It's a miserable looking day out there today. Very rainy. Oh, cloudy. Going to rain. Alrighty then. So an update on the Marshall boards, the FYM 2000s. These have been shipping. The latest batch has started arriving at their destinations, which is great. The latest one turned up today in Canada. I think everyone involved is sort of like you end up in this sort of trance building these things, and you forget that they're actually going to the destination. So when they start arriving, it's a good feeling. Let's just hope they don't blow up, eh? Just fix my camera up a bit since I can't find the tripod base for it. I don't know where the hell that's ended up. I looked around at home, couldn't find it. It might be on my bench at home from when I was doing the live streams in the garage. Perhaps. So we've been testing these things madly, and we've had two amps, a DSL100 and a TSL100, which I've adapted for more efficient testing. Just running fucking all day. So I'll be working on the guitar bench over there, fixing up guitars and doing wiring and refrets and fret hones and whatever. Now I have an amp here and an amp next to it, using the two oscilloscopes because I've got a Rigol DS-1054z over there, and I've got the Tektronix 2236 over here. I've got a BK Precision 4017A sweep and function generator here, which is playing up. I need to work on that. And I've got a BWD 160A function generator over there, which is fucking unkillable. That's from the 60s, and it still provides a perfect output. Made in Melbourne. Australian-made gear. We need to make shit again, champions. Now the US seems to have abandoned fucking everyone. We need to build our own stuff. So I've had all these boards. As soon as I've finished testing one on one side, I'll go over and test that one, change the board out, test this one, change the board out. So I'm alternating between the two amps at the same time that I'm working on guitars. So 3 jobs at once. Run them for about 2 hours at about 10 volts RMS, so what's that, 50 watts or something into, oh fuck, I don't know, brain no worky. So running about, 8 ohms, it's only 12 watts. So just enough to get it cooking though. And running for 2 hours and set the meters with the min-max setting. Monitoring various things. So I have the primary drop across the output transformer. That determines the output dissipation. And if anything changes, the alarm goes crazy and I walk over and take measurements and see what's happened. But we tested, what, 40 of the boards over the last week, and there was not one single issue. So the only issues I found were maybe like a component been put in the wrong way around, or a component left out entirely. So that was found because I grabbed 2 boards and I visually compare them with a known good board that I've checked all the component values just by looking at them off the bill of materials, and I visually compare the next board with that master board, and all the issues that there were from assembly mistakes got picked up before I applied power. So the only one thing that I did do once, I thought I had an issue because of foot switching wasn't working. It turned out that just because I got distracted by a phone call, I forgot to plug that connector in. And another time it sounded really harsh on the TSL. I thought that sounds surprisingly harsh, and I forgot to plug in the negative feedback on the spade connector there. So, but yeah, they're going out, and from all reports there is no issues, so that is fantastic. There's a couple of other guys working on these boards too. One of my mates in the UK, 2 of my mates in the UK, one in Scotland, one in England, and there's a guy in Sydney making them as well. However, last I saw, he has only produced I don't think he's even produced an actual board, or maybe if he did, there was a prototype only. But literally 99% of the work with these fuckers is assembly and stock control, like ordering the parts, making sure everything's in stock, and then the testing. So I honestly don't know why I've done it. Because it's just, I'm already sleep deprived as it is, and then I just keep adding extra jobs to the queue for no apparent reason. But anyway, it does the job and it does what I designed it for, and that's fantastic. So hopefully they keep selling, because otherwise what the fuck did I do it all for? Alright, moving on. Let's do something interesting, champions. So you might have heard, alright, I'm going to clip this. So champions, you might have heard of a little country called Ukraine. It's been a little bit popular in the news recently, partially because of Vlad the Inhaler trying to fucking take over it. Somehow they're managing to build amplifiers over there, and this is one of them. The company's called Crab. Apparently it's a one-man operation, and this is a Satan, a remake on the Randall. I think it is. I probably should do research before I start talking, but you know, what's the fun in that? So we're going to have a look. A customer of mine wanted this amp, but the only samples out there, the only words work, please. Customer of mine wanted one of these, but the only specimens from Randall out there are getting expensive and hard to find. So this bloke makes essentially clones of amplifiers and sells them. At first glance, feels like 15mm plywood, birch ply probably. It's got a lip around the front. Feels slightly thicker at the front, maybe a build-up. It's got that vinyl that feels more like an upholstery vinyl. It's got a bit of give to it. It's not stiff, so I think the slight foam or whatever's underneath that might mean it's a little bit less durable than proper Tolex. But I'm not going to criticize this thing too hard, because fuck me. They're still building amplifiers while they're getting bombed every day. You got to hand it to them. So there was no particular issue with this amp other than when it got shipped. I believe the customer said the foot switch was placed in the amplifier with maybe insufficient padding. So during the shipping, the foot switches smashed up the valve. So there was one 12AX7 remaining. One of the output valves survived, but the other did not, as you can see here. So the whole amp was filled with glass. I'd cleaned it out a bit. The customer did his part to clean it out too. It's got these ceramic sockets, which can be a bit hit and miss, but here we have a de-enveloped, essentially 6L6. So we have a box of valves here. So this, props to this guy. As soon as my customer sent a message to him saying, oh look, the thing's been smashed up in shipping because the foot switch was placed in the amplifier head. He may have packed it and it just became dislodged. Like may have stuck it to something, but I don't know. I didn't unpack it. But he did the right thing and he sent a bloody box of new valves, mate. Like the whole set. So what have we got? 3 out of 4 ain't bad, as Meatloaf said. No, that was 2 out of 3. So he sent a whole new set, a whole new complement of valves. So props to him, doing the right thing by his customers. So this is kind of cool. When you see a degloved valve, it's always kind of cool. Still got a bit of glass there, we'll be careful. Don't have our triple safety gloves on and condom and mother on speed dial, as AVE would say. Yeah, maybe we'll take this one apart. What do you reckon? I do like these dampers. You've got mica, which touches the glass, and then you've got a spring, looks like stainless steel, behind it, which offers the actual springiness. So the mica is in contact with the glass. But these actually are one of the best spring methods. So these are actually one of the best suspension methods for the inner elements. They tend to not become microphonic because the spring mechanism doesn't have a way for it to get bruised by shock. A lot of them, a lot of the valves these days, let's get an example. Making YouTube gold here, champions. A lot of modern valves. This is a tube amp doctor, don't judge me. It's one of the ones that blew up within a few minutes of use. 24 AG, stay away from that batch, but I'd say stay away from tube amp doctor everything at the moment because they don't know how to make a valve. They have little fingers in the micro washer. Now these get compressed over time and the valve becomes microphonic because all the elements are flopping around inside there because there's no longer any spring. With this mechanism here, I'll get you one where it's actually intact still. With this mechanism here, there's always spring on the glass. Always. You're not going to bruise that. You're not going to get rid of that spring because it's not relying on just little fingers of mica that can get dented over time. So generally I've found these ones to be a lot less microphonic over time as well. But no one seems to use that method anymore. It's probably 3 cents more expensive. So of course, capitalism being what it is, we're not after results, we're after profits. Yay. Anyway. So a quick look at the back here. We've got a cool little logo here. It looks like the ghost out of Ghostbusters, whatever that friendly little dude is. Caution, do not open. Risk of electric shock. Do not expose this equipment to rain, moisture, or ICBMs. Handmade in Ukraine. Crab. Serial number, non-existent. So this was a custom build for this customer. I think he builds to order. And we've got 2 toroidals down here with a bunch of Cyrillic writing on it. But we do have some specs written on there as well. We've got currents and voltages, nice to see. And apparently it's a professional transformer. Well, thank God for that. So he hasn't even powered it up. So he's sort of relying on me to do the service and replace the valves and just check that everything's hunky-dory before he attempts to use the amplifier. Fuse looks intact. Sounds intact. Rating wise, fast blow 1 amp. Fuse 1 amp. 1 amp should be about right for one of these. So these output valves, again, Cyrillic writing. Is that how you pronounce Cyrillic? Cyrillic? 6N3C. So equivalent, I believe, to a 6L6GC. But let's confirm that. Ooh, bit of glass on the bench there, just stabbed into my hand. Uncle Doug graciously accepted my step drill recommendation. Has he been releasing videos again? If so, that's good to see, because he went quiet there for a while. Everyone was a bit worried about him. People have life, you know. You do video and you can do video. If it's not your main source of income, it's a luxury to be able to make it. Alright, let's read the specs, if we can find them. Datasheet. 6N3C datasheet. Is this an actual datasheet or is it a scam site? So anything where people need stuff, there's usually scams attached. Toshiba, I don't think so. It looks like a tube. Download. What? Security code. I don't know, is this like a "are you a robot" kind of thing? Downloaded. Is my computer going to have a heart attack? No. Tektronix. Used in output stages of low frequency amplifiers. Envelope glass. Yeah, no shit. Anode voltage. Typical. That's typical characteristics, not maximum. Minus 14. Maximum anode voltage would be nice. 375, 6P3S. That's not what I fucking asked for. Just realised we're looking at the wrong data sheet. Okay, so for some reason it's giving me a data sheet for a 6P3N instead of a 6N3C. Is it the same valve? I don't know. Oh, don't you love dealing with fucking ex-Soviet shit? 6P3C. No, I want 6N3C. 6N3C. I don't care if the writing's in another language. I just want to see the numbers. It is 6P3S. It's 6N3C. And you may say it's the same. 6P3S is Latin script. Okay. Righto. You Australian. Because in EU it's like 10 PM on Friday. I don't know if you could pick up from the accent. Clearly not. But yes, I am Australian. Am I supposed to? No, I won't sign in. Get fucked. Am I supposed to speak in more an Australian accent? There you go, mate. What's going on? Fucking stone the crows. Why does my toe hurt? Did I kick some? Oh, I kicked the coffee table last night. That's right. I'm wondering why my foot hurts. I just want to be able to see this, but in higher resolution. Ah, fuck it. Whatever. 250. 6P. Okay, 6P3C. I don't know how Cyrillic works. Lyle's posted a link. Let me have a look at the link. Yes, I do. I do want to leave YouTube because I clicked it in the app. File not downloaded. Potential security list. Open anyway. Don't tell me what to do, computer. Let's be a, what do they call them? Libertarian for a moment. Oh, it's the same file anyway. I'll only be a libertarian for a moment, not for my lifetime, because I'm not a fucking brain dead idiot. 6P3, okay. Filament current, less than an amp. Interesting. Output power. Take that with a grain of salt. Limited values, here's what we're looking for. So anode voltage 375. So let's call it 400 volts. Second, screen grid voltage 300 volts, and importantly the anode dissipation of 20 watts. So she ain't a 6L6. So as long as we stay within these parameters, you know, we're not going to drive it to 20 watts because I believe it's fixed bias, so we're looking for like 50-60% of 20 watts. So about 10 watts. And less than 400 volts, we should be in the clear. Sweet as, bro. Let me just catch up on the chat a bit. Sorry, I'm not good at discerning accents yet. Can't blame you, mate. I guess it'd be a bit like asking an Aussie or an American what European accent's that? Fucking, I don't know, European. So Gabrielle, generally we have a pretty similar accent to New Zealand. Some Americans seem to think we sound a lot like the UK. I think we're completely different, but anyway, we won't hold that against them. We've got enough to hold against them at the moment. But we sound a lot like white South Africans. I don't know how that came to be, because it's not like they're all got Australian heritage, but yeah, if something happened to their accent, and there's probably linguists out there that study it, but they have a rubbish accent though. It's probably closer to New Zealand. Anyway, let's get this thing out of the box and see what she's made of. So look at the bottom. We've got these, let's get the proper screwdriver first. Got these Phillips head and also hex head screws. They look a bit similar to like the old computer screws, the old AT system screws, and you see them on a lot of Japanese like motorcycles and stuff. They'll have the Phillips in the middle and the hex on the outside. I think a lot of that's to do with they're often on like longer than average screws, so you can drive them in with the Phillips real quickly by, you know, spinning the shaft, and then you can actually torque them up with the outside using a torque wrench or whatever. They appear to be stainless. They've got a washer and a spring washer held captive by the end of the thread, so put on there before threading because you can't get them off. And then they've got an additional flat washer there to spread the load across the vinyl, which is a nice touch. So good points there. We've got plastic feet. They're not rubber at all, not even hard rubber. They're actual, feels like PVC. So just a quick look at the back. We've got half power and full power. That's probably triode pentode switch. I personally aren't a big fan of that mod because half power only drops the output by like 3 dB. To actually have half the discernible volume, you need to divide the output power by 10. And there's not an easy way to do that in an amplifier like there is with triode pentode. So you kind of have to use a 1 in 10 attenuator on the output, or you need to do some serious voltage scaling, and along with that comes a whole bunch of other issues that need addressing for acceptable performance. Take that last valve out before I forget. Smash it on something. And out she come. Let's have a quick look at the cabinet before we get into it. Needs to say shrimp. No one says shrimp here. We don't call anything shrimp. Got some tin foil on the bottom there, aluminium. It's come apart at the front a bit, so I'll peel that back out and lay it out again, stick it down as best we can. 2 rows of it there, so that's probably like air conditioners, duct tape, something like that. You know, the thermal stuff they use for the insulation. So looking at the cabinet, it looks actually like it's all solid. We do have a cleat on the front there to make it look thicker from the front, and it appears to be like 15 mil. But it looks like it's actually solid timber. Probably hard to make out the grain there, but looking at the grain patterns, I think that would be Baltic pine, and the region it's from would back that up as well, because it grows like fuck out there. Except for in Chelyabinsk, whatever the fuck it's called, where it got irradiated by Chernobyl. The Red Forest. But looking at the front, I believe that's laser cut steel. Looks like 1.6 mil, probably 1.2 mil. And it's got a little fold down there. So you got a cut there, so you can fold it without pinching the front. Sheet metal's a whole science, man. You got a little notch there, so when you fold this, it doesn't make a big ugly sort of dip there from the built-up tension. It just allows it to fold nicely, and there's a little like 5 mil lip there to just offer some stiffness on the front, so the front's not flapping around in the breeze. Got a little plastic logo there. I believe that's screen printed. No, actually, I think that's laser etched. So that's like a black plastic with a silver faux brushed metal, or actually it looks like maybe just painted metal front, and then they use a laser to ablate off the unwanted silver, and then that exposes the black underneath. Can't see any laser lines though, so that may have been a mask and sandblast as well. Not sure. Either way, whatever they're doing, it's pretty cool. Being solid timber, it's nice and lightweight as well. Right, so let's have a look at the guts. Let's get rid of the cabinet. We've got a switch up the top here. I don't know what that does. There's no markings on the back. Maybe for different valve types or something. Something configured from the factory. Got a couple of rivets here, which worries me a little bit, that they might be using them for ground connections. Rivets aren't great at the best of times, partially because you're dealing with unlike metal. So you've got stainless steel. You've got mild steel, powder coated by the looks of it. It's got a rough finish. And then you got aluminium, so they tend to get galvanic corrosion, which isn't great, and it's exacerbated by humidity. All right. So looking at the back, we've got 3 relays. We've got all through-hole components. The construction looks pretty good, actually. Got a signature down there, 2024, 38, 12. I don't know what date that is. 30th of the 12th, 2024. I don't know. Anyway, we've got another switch at the end there. Okay, so we've got a voltage switch to 30 or 115 at the end. So you can configure it for your country, and that's not accessible from the user. You've got to remove it from the cabinet, so that's good points there. Looks like we've got a separate effects loop board. We'll see what see what that entails. There's some unpopulated components there, so maybe other options for other stuff, or maybe yeah, okay, there's a unpopulated area there that says reverb gain, so I think this is probably a solid state reverb send and return as well, but this amplifier doesn't have that, so he's using kind of universal boards to build his amps, which is a smart move, particularly for a one-man show. You kind of got to streamline however you can. So looking down there, that switch at the back there is an impedance switch. No? I'm completely wrong. I'm seeing the yellow and the green, and I'm thinking, oh, impedance, because that's normally the color of the secondary windings. That's kind of the heaters. What's that for? Heaters. Pin 2? No, sorry, 7. Ground? Is that a ground lift? I don't know. I'm gonna have to draw that out. That's weird. I won't touch it for the moment. The wires actually feels like it's silicon jacketed because it's really supple and soft. I don't know what else to describe it as. And then you got some feels like Teflon PTFE on the transformer winding, transformer pigtails there. You got the same funny silicon feeling wiring going to the standby switch. So down here we've got a ground connection. This is the most important part. We've got a ground connection on the IEC here, which is attached directly to the chassis, which is good. However, it's attached via a not very reliable looking rivet, which is actually not fully riveted against the chassis. Let's open that up a bit. Come on, Penny boy. You can do it. So down there, I don't know if you can make out, but you can actually see a bit of air underneath that eyelet, and it's not a toothed eyelet. They have removed some powder coating from the chassis there, but really the only connection you've got to safety ground is through the inner edge of that eyelet, which is got the rivet expanded in it. It's not actually sandwiched against the chassis, so I'll be drilling that out and putting a screw there, and probably a more reliable wire than this wispy thing, because the safety ground connection is the most important connection in the whole amp, despite what a lot of boutique fuckwits may think. It's in the Australian wiring code, legends. Don't know what to tell you. So we've got an integral fuse in the IEC connector, so that's good. And that's coming directly up to the switch, which is a dual pole, dual throw. Sorry, dual pole, single throw. And that's good. That's kind of the best way you can do it. You got the fuse, which is unbypassable, which is great. And both the active and the neutral go to the front switch. I'm not a fan of this wire for mains connection, however, because is there any rating on it at all? We don't know the rating of the stuff, the voltage. There's no, oh yeah, there's writing on it. What have we got? AWM. Okay, so this is a different wiring to the rest. 300 volt rated, 80 degrees C, and from Shenzhen. But it does have approval markings on it, and it's not the same wispy stuff as all the other connections, including the ground. So that's good. Got an output jack board there for the speaker connections. That's all pretty solid. All the soldering looks good so far. Couple of tack solders, which I'm not a fan of, but you know, it's the fashion. Got some point-to-point stuff on the front panel. Looks like, well, they look like alphas from Taiwan for the pots. They're PCB. They have the PCB pins folded over. There's a paralleled 2-gang pot there for the presence control at the front. But overall, I've got no reason to think that anything's wrong with this. So, aside from the safety ground and those grounds up the front end there, which aren't like they're the audio, the circuit grounds, so noise is an issue, but they're not a safety issue. We might pop some valves in and take some measurements and see how she do. Let me get my blocks. Oh man, I've really messed up my foot. Oh shit. Okay, that's not going to work. Let's try again. Not enough room there. I'll just put the block under the transformer and I'll put this block on its edge. In the meantime, let's test these valves. Could use the amp to test them, but I don't want to risk damaging anything. Let's just see if they take the plate voltage and go up to their specs as quoted. Check the pin out first, eh? Being weird valves. Alright, the DeLorean is active. Let's pull up those specs again. Pin out. 2 and 7 filament, yes. 5 control grid. 4 screen grid. Internally connected suppressor grid. 3 for the plate. No connection on 6. Cathode on 8. Yep, so that's the same as your average octal valve. Do we have takeoff? Yes, we do. Let's just turn the exposure down a little bit with that aluminium fascia. It's a little bit obnoxious. You can see the voltage on the heaters there goes down a little bit when you put a valve in. The current draws it down a touch. But the regulation's pretty good. Let's drop them down at minus 49 there. Wait for them to warm up a bit. And give them hell. Right, let's take it up to say 350. What did it say in the specs? Minus 11. Minus 14 on the grids at 250. That's the test parameters. Let's take this up to about 340. We'll go to 300 first. So, guitar amps abuse valves like crazy. There's a fantastic article from our man Rod Elliott about why guitar amps are fucking shit, and I'm talking about all of them. And why valves fail in them quite often when you might have a hi-fi amp or a piece of audio gear in a studio where the valves last 30 years. In a guitar amp, they tend to last nowhere near that. He starts off by there is absolutely no doubt that valves have enormous nostalgia value. Yep. Introduction to valves. Valve amplifiers. Trying to remember where I read it. I think it might have been valve stage analysis. Yeah. Okay, so forgive him here. He got the Marshall 1959 mixed up with the JCM 800, but essentially he's looking at the big picture. He's not looking at the little preamp differences. But this is a fantastic article. I'll post it here. because it teaches you how to identify different stages in an amp and what they do. I can't post it because I'm not signed in. Anyway, there's the address there. Look up sound-au.com. Not .au, by the way. So he builds up each stage and analyzes it. Demonstrates the different stages of the amp, the phase inverter, the tone stack, blah, blah, blah. The output stage. But he also goes through why so many amplifiers fail. Everything's a major compromise, blah, blah, blah. There are countless ways to mess up a valve power stage. But yeah, he goes over a lot of stuff about why instrument amplifiers tend to fail. Very, very good article. I just read that the other night. Right, let's give it a bit. See how far out they are. Down here we're in the very non-linear part of the curve. But looking at these, they are pretty heavily out of balance. So, I think I might have picked up the one from the valve, one from the amp. Not the match pair that he sent. We'll see what this one does. Let it warm up first. You can see it's not conducting. It's starting to come up now. 8, 9 milliamps. So it's a much closer match than the other one. Still a bit off, but she's still warming up. Thank you, Alex. Hello, everyone, by the way. I'm too busy to chat today, so. Right, so not a bad match on those two. Let's go to the typical operation specs in the data sheet. So 250, 250. Just let the filtering level out there. And there's not much current. There's very little, well, there's a lot of time for the voltage to change because particularly when you're going down, nothing's draining the caps. All right, so at 250-ish, we'll bring up the screen. That'll drop the plate a little bit. 250, 250. And minus 14. $34. So what's that? Let's go 40 millivolts. So that's 9.7. So we're after about 10 or 11 watts, maybe 12. So if we go 12 divided by 250 volts on the plates is 48 milliamps. So if we bring that up, we're at about minus 18 instead of minus 14 like the data sheet says. So they're a little bit hotter than the specs, but they appear to be performing okay. Let's test them at what's probably likely to be in this amp, so probably around the 400 volt mark. Well, let's go 375, the max plate. Can hear some, ran them a bit hot there for a second, but they survived. 375. So let's go 10 watts. 375. We're looking at 26 milliamps for 10 watts. A little bit out, about 3 milliamps out. But all in all, I'll say they're up to the job. Just let that drain the HT for a second. Anyone see Merlin's preamp book going for crazy dollars on eBay out of print, he says, until Christmas? Damn. If Brad suddenly goes quiet, it means he went back to 1955 for his high school dance. Yep. What a movie, eh? What a movie. Pops did an awesome job on the tube tester. He certainly did. And he is here. G'day, Dad. G'day, Mum, by the way. You've had enough of this tech nonsense for the last week. Go and enjoy life. It's my job to suffer in this shop, not yours. But Dad's been helping and Mum's been helping out a lot recently. Just while I've been trying to keep everything under control at the shop. Greatly appreciated, because I couldn't have done it without him. Same with Michelle. Oh, fucking foot. Damn. Alright, let's get some new preamps in. I'll put that one aside. That was the stock one. Or the one that came with the amp. You can keep that as a spare if it's still good. What I'm looking at working on soon is maybe a preamp valve tester. I could just go buy a maxi matcher off my mate Peter Tom's. It's probably the smartest thing to do, but the exercise of building a preamp valve tester is kind of what I'm after. Not so much the final result. Well, the final result certainly, but you know, life's all about the journey, champions. You know what I mean? 6H2N-EB. It's V11178. So were they made in 78? Could be. No, I don't think his books are drop printed, Richard. They don't have that typical sort of look to them. If you've got a bunch of those books, they sort of have this feel to them, just in the way they're made and the look of the print and the... But his feel like an actual publishing house. Merlin's books, I mean. I've got a copy of the first edition and a copy of the latest edition. And the power supply book and the hi-fi book. The hi-fi book actually goes in quite a bit more depth. Which is nice, even though it's aiming for hi-fi. There's a lot of information in there that was left out of the guitar one that's actually valuable stuff. So, look, I'd suggest getting all of them if you can afford it, because there's a lot of gold in there. And there's not a lot of people who specialize in these non-linear applications of valves without just being on forums and shit. So it is cool to see the stuff he does and the fact that he is mindful of what is required for a guitar amp rather than just purely copying data sheets from RCA design manuals and whatnot. Right, they can all go away. Let's give this thing a clean. Just check all those valve sockets for any evidence of glass from the smashed valves. Give them a vacuum. There's a bit sandwiched down there between the control panel and the Chevy. don't know if you heard me then, but there's a bit of glass sandwiched between the control panel and the chassis down there, so I vacuumed that out. I've heard bad things about Weber's book. I haven't read it myself though, but I've heard from people I trust that it's a little bit inaccurate. Right, these are all the same. 6H2N. 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 So I'm assuming they're the equivalent of a 12H7. Radiotron Designer Handbook. Yeah, that's a fantastic one. I have Aspen's book. I've heard good things about the Aspen's book. Well, the sound.au site is sound-au site is amazing. Yes, it is amazing. I've been promoting it consistently. I actually met the author about a year ago, Rod, fucking legend, and I do chat with him on Facebook occasionally, lamenting the condition of the world and. But yeah, I've been planning to get him on as an interview because I've been angling for David EEV blog to interview him for years, but Dave's too busy with his fucking canyoning and keto diets to and his real estate speculation to interview our national icons. So I'll get into that and hopefully do it in person actually, because you get so much more out of the one-on-one interaction when you're in person rather than talking on a fucking broken low bandwidth internet connection. But Rod's a legend, and a lot of his information was used for the building of that valve tester too. So we do owe him big time, and I'd like you to all go and visit his site and do what I do every year and donate to him. Because he maintains that whole site for free, and if you'll notice, there's no advertising on it. No advertising at all. So yeah, let's just do a quick feature on Rod's site. Homepage. So champions, if you're not across this site as of yet, this is a extremely useful website written by a fellow Aussie and a bloke from Sydney named Rod Elliott, and he runs Elliott Sound Products. He does sell some projects as well and some PCBs. He's got a price list over here. So if you look at his projects, he's got his official project list. So sort of like old school, the old magazines where you could get the article and this is just the categories, mind you, and then order the PCB. So let's just say preamps and accessories, right? Just out of a look at all the fucking projects, champions. Look at them all. Look at them all. Look at them all. That's just preamps. Car audio preamp, Death of Zen. That's a bit of historical stuff about that amplifier design. You got phono preamps, hi-fi preamps, subsonic rumble filter, preamp, crossover muting circuit, phase polarity switch, every possible little doodah that you could ever need. Piezo preamplifiers, that's handy for guitar pickups. And that's just that section, right? Tape head preamp. This is also fantastic because if you have a circuit that you need to repair and you don't know how it works or what its architecture is, Rod will show you an example of it, and you can often use that as a guide to work on whatever amp you're working on or whatever device you're working on. Crossovers and filters, look at them all. Look at them all. Equalizers, power supplies. You've got switch mode designs, like you can make your own switch mode power supply. Crazy shit. Look at all the power supplies, musical instrument applications. So that's right up our alley. Nice preamplifiers, and he often cuts through the bullshit and actually design stuff how they should be, rather than just copying the same shit that everyone's done for 100 years, literally 100 years. Mixers. So I wanted to build his mixer. I'm talking in the, well, what, year 2000. So yeah, I was still in school. That's when he published it. So he goes through the entire design of a mixer from the ground up. Yeah, he's still got the graphics there. Man, was it 22 years ago I read this? Wow. I didn't realize when I was reading it that it had just been released. But he goes through that line inputs, different methods. You can use transformer coupling on the input there. If you've got $1 billion, you can use a electronically balanced, not galvanically, or you can use a pre-made chip. I think they're obsolete now, but I did buy a few for this application. I've still got some there, I think. That's a dedicated mic input chip, balanced mic input. I'm not sure if that one's adaptable to line input or if there's a dedicated line input one too. Different methods of tone control with all graphs and it. Like, there's just, it's like a fucking, you'll find one of his articles relating to something that you need to know about, but that article's a mushroom on top of the mycelium that is throughout his whole website and consists of a billion other mushrooms across the rest of the forest. That's what his website's like. It's so good. And you'll notice there's no ads. And the reason there's no ads is because you can make a donation. And that's just doable on PayPal. See that button there? Click that, go give him some cash, and then bathe in glory that is his website. So that was just the projects, right, that we were looking at. So that was that one list. That one. Then you got his price list where you can buy the actual the circuit boards, PCB details and dimensions. He's got US dollars, Australian dollars there, probably a bit out. Yeah, very out now. But you know, if you need anything from him, flick him a message, see if he's got it in stock. Class A amplifier site. Yeah, so really fantastic. So the main reason I go there, well, application notes is fantastic as well, but the articles. Look at all the articles, champions. It's got the date over there. So he's still producing material. He loves it. He's lock-in amplifiers. I was reading about these recently since Heinbach used one to generate music. He used it how it's not supposed to be used, but still pretty cool. But yeah, all the articles, application notes, and you name it. It's an absolute goldmine, this page. You need to know about it. Myths in audio. This is a fantastic one. It just takes down all the audiophilia bullshit and all the myths that have been perpetuated for fucking 100 years since the first speaker was developed. Yeah, fantastic website. Go and check it out and give him some bucks if you can, because he bloody well deserves it. Right, back to this thing. Let's get some meters happening. Can I steal another Fluke? Where's my other Fluke? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that's all 4. Might pinch one of these from the test bed. So we can measure plate dissipation and adjust accordingly. Hi, Frank. Bye, Frank. Yeah, Rob's got some great reverb driver circuits. Yeah, solid state stuff. Fantastic. It's time for the Satan amp. That's one thing I've got to do. I've got to rig up my microphone because I took it down for some reason. Just got my 57 there on the test cab underneath the bench. Great info on VCA stuff, yeah.
Just absolute wealth of information. The main reason I want to get him on is because I want to figure out how the fuck he accrued all this knowledge, you know? What's his history? And he's a friendly bloke, loves to have a chat too. We went to the Tektronix show. Couldn't do any video in there because you got to get approval beforehand for that. They can be a bit twitchy about that, but that was the day that we drove into the Tektronix. I met Rod the first time. I didn't know what to expect. It can be very hit and miss with technical people. You either sort of hit it off and have the time of your lives, or they can be very awkward to interact with. But Rod was the former. We got along like a house on fire, and we sat there bloody talking over fish and chips for probably an hour when we should have been walking around looking at stuff. I was chatting to his wife as well. I assume wife. I don't know if they're married or not. None of my business, mate. So we've got a handy dandy little cathode resistor on each valve there. Let's just test them. $8:30 and someone's here. Why for? Oh, it's just Michelle. Hey, woman. How you going?
Your meat.
My meat. Thank you. 1 ohm or thereabouts. 50 ohm. What for? Oh, sorry, that's the heater balance resistor. I'm on the wrong pin. See you, woman. Bye-bye.
Meatloaf and
Okay, thank you. Again, they got the rivet on the chassis here, which I'm not a big fan of. And we've got 1 ohm there too. Excellent. We've got 470 ohm on the screen grids. And yes, that is a triode pentode switch. Find a good deal on some V30s, so going for it. How pissed was the Bogner owner? I haven't been up to date with that. What happened with the Bogner? Actually, you know what? Put your link for the video and we'll have to just go find out ourselves. But if you don't mind, you can edify me. I haven't been watching much of anything at all. I've been too busy. Just get those heater wires down in the corner there. Very nicely wired. That's interesting. You got green and yellow, and then you've got black. So what are they doing? Just trying to figure out the heaters here, champions. They've got like a center tapped heater. And it's got a ground reference. Why have they got 2 different connections then? I don't know. I can't figure that out. I'll have to have a look at that later. Just unfolding disaster. (9A to 9AB heaters. Can you clarify what that means, Alex? Remember, you're talking to a low IQ individual here. So yeah, just fill me in, Frankie. What happened with the Bogner? It didn't turn out to be the power supply, did it? Because it had heater. Four and 5 heater, 9 ground shield. Yeah, it's just 4 and 5 have got a different lead going to them, which is you know what it probably is? Yeah, okay, so it's convertible to suit a different valve type. Depending on what valves you put in there. So I'd say with these valves that have been given to us, they're probably 12 volt only, maybe. But then you can flick a switch and take it back to the 6.3. Got a basically unused 412 cap. 412 cap? Crappy Ampeg that was loaded with UK, I think you mean cab, Ted. Okay, loaded with UK made V30s and 2001 date codes for 170 bucks. Nice. (9AB). Ah, yeah, gotcha. All right, 6N2P. And that's the one we've got, isn't it? (6H2N EB). Let's get out the Variac. Very yuck, yuck, yuck. Oh, fucking foot, man. Limping. Like a lame duck. I've never seen a duck limp. But anyway. Where's my mic cable? Just grab my mic cable, 1 sec, champs. Oh, hang on. Got one hanging up, don't I? No. Must have moved it. Need to make some custom length mic cables so I don't have bunched up reels hanging around the place. One of these days, champions. One of these days. Sorry, I'm lost on the surprise. So the switch failed, but the big show was the impedance selector switch was failing. Oh yeah, they always fail. They're shit switches, man. I did a dedicated video just on them, actually. Turns out it caused a no. Took out the speaker. Really? Wouldn't expect it to take out the speaker thanks to the inductance of the transformer and the galvanic isolation of it. Huh. Yeah, those switches are fucking shit. They are built to fail, man. They've got these long fingers that change like a rod, and the fingers just snap off because they can't handle the torsion. Let's watch a quick video. If my fucking internet wants to work. View your channel. shorts. Whoop. Pardon me. Thought I made it a short. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, don't buy these. Alright, let's watch this. Let's watch me being an idiot. Don't buy these.
Alright, champions, I was just about to put this impedance selector switch in. I noticed this little piece of plastic. It was about to fall out. Yeah, it's loose. So that switch cannot be trusted anymore. And considering it's the impedance selector, it is kind of critical that we have a reliable switch there. These switches kind of suck at the best of times. They feel crunchy to use. Quite often you get loss of continuity between the contacts. And they've got a larger hole cutout than the average impedance selector switches, so you're kind of locked into using these if that's the type that the amplifier has. And I think the manufacturer knows that, so they charge like 80 bucks Australian or something ridiculous for them, like 60 to 80 bucks, something. I remember thinking, what the hell, when I looked at the price. So you've kind of got no choice but to use the same type again, regardless of them being kind of
Dumbest switch ever.
So that's what, unfortunately, we'll have to do in this case. So once the inner part of that switch starts breaking off, we really can't trust it anymore, and it is in a critical position. So here's the stock one on the left and the replacement on the right. That's one I had in stock. I always keep one of a lot of these things in stock at any given time, and then when I use it, I just chuck one on the next order. So I've always got a live order happening with many of my suppliers, and just leave it open until there's a part that actually I require, rather than just putting in stock. But I try to, because I'm ordering stuff from the States quite often, I try to order as much as I can in one go. You can see there the brand's the same, but they've decided on a hex nut there at some point, which is good. Means we can actually get on it and put some decent torque into it. It looks like glass reinforced plastic. And you can see there the thread is coarser on the new one, so the old nut's not compatible with the new one. They've revised it at some point, which could be tricky if you've got limited clearance in that area. If you've got something right up against it, like the jacks jam right up against that switch, you may not have clearance with that new nut, so be aware of that if you're getting a replacement. This industry, mate, it's full of pitfalls like this, little showstoppers and just constant challenges to your sanity. So watch out for them before they occur. And guess what? Same switch on the same customer's other amplifier. I'm just putting it together, and I flicked it back from the impedance I was using, and the guts fell out of it too. These are the shittest switches known to man. Look, how do they expect... you can see 3 of the 4 little pieces of plastic there that hold the terminal are broken off. How do they expect you to have any leverage on a tiny piece of plastic like that? Utter piles of shit. Don't use them. Bogner, Rivera, stop using them. They're shit. You turn them 6 times from the factory and they fall apart like this. And what's worse is the customer's on his way to pick it up because I said it's ready, and then something like this happens. Every job's like this these days. You're just spinning the wheels every day. It's not a good kind of busy. Busy, but everyone says, yeah, being busy is great, but this is not a good busy.
Whinge. Fucking whining prick. Why would anyone subscribe to that channel? Anyway, I hope the echo went away there once I realised my mic was still on. Sorry. Mo2 engaged. Mark of the unicorn. Do unicorns have marks? I thought the mark was there. Anyway. We were enjoying the echo. Did it turn off when I turned off my mic? Yeah, it's the dumbest switch known to man. I don't know. Like, how do you design a million of something so badly and just start making them with such confidence? Like, I don't understand how a company like that can survive. Anyway, closer look at this thing. Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding. We have 3 relays. What have we got switchable? Channel switching, kill. I don't know what kill is. Sweep. That's a 3-way switch. So I guess that's something like a tilt control maybe. We've got some weird brand of relay that I haven't seen before. We've got a weird brand of cap that I haven't seen before. JC Con. And HY. AV brand. Just a whole bunch of weird brands. Non-Western brands. Strange little, look like quarter watt carbon film resistors, but they've got like stubbier little bodies than usual. And really thick bands on them. Everything from over there is a bit weird. Ceramic caps are just generics. Film caps look to be generic. Got flyback diodes on the relay, which is another thing that Mesa Boogie could learn how to do, but they're too stupid. Too idiotic. Got a tiny little bridge rectifier down there. Looks like maybe a 2 amp. Or sorry, a 1 amp one. If that. But it's through hole plated. Everything's through hole plated. Double sided PCBs. The construction it's pretty good. I like the wiring of the valve sockets. That's how I do it. Put them as close to the valve socket as possible. Keep the wire runs short, and that gets fosters fuck, I can't think. Words. Fosters consistency. Jesus. Well, there goes my chance of doing a video edit because I'm too fucking scattered today to be able to have a consistent narrative. We've been sitting on this amp for what, the last 2 hours? Almost. Alright, plate connection. Where far out there? 1, 2, 3. Can I get a connector on there? No, I can't. Slow clone for him. Maybe. Anyone had any problems with 5 watt Australian made resistors? Brand is something RH. Don't know if they are JCar specials or what. I haven't, no. I don't buy anything from JCar though. Maybe heat shrink if I'm in a pinch. That's about it. JCar's pretty well useless for most stuff, man. No way to really connect anything. Get one probe around that. Positive output of the bridge rec. That's the wrong one. No biggie, I'll just get a negative voltage if that was the case. What I might be able to do is link the other lead around that one. Double Dutch rudder, you know? Know what I mean? Foster's? Who drinks Foster's? No one drinks Foster's. It's not the Ukraine, it's just Ukraine, Dylan. Like I'm not from the Australia. Although, recenter framing, you fuck. Only buy from Jayco if I don't have time for a mouse or order. Well, mate, that sounds like a skill issue. You should always have time for a mouse or order. Gringo Pig, how you going, legend? It's right, Dylan. You're forgiven. I got a comment the other day. Someone was very confused about my channel. They're like, I'm not sure if this is supposed to be funny or not. Because I've got a bit of a dry sense of humor, and some, not going to name any names, America. But some nationalities need everything spelled out for them because they don't understand dry humor. Alrighty then. Let's get another meter. Oh, man, fucking foot's killing me. Let's get another meter. We'll check the plate voltage. Get out, get out. There's some leads I made the other day. Out of stuff from Tater, and then some silicon lead from RS Components. Because often you'll be measuring stuff and you might not notice, but a lead's touching one of the valves, and this stuff won't melt. Because it's fantastic. You get around there, you go over there. Be careful, now the amp's live, essentially. Even though it's on the variac, we are at mains potential. Alright, speaker. Going to the 16 ohm output, because that's what we got under the bench. Feed it something from the signal, Jenny. Go with the BK Precision since the the BWD since the BK Precision's playing up. I need to fix it. It's got I think like JST series connectors, and they're corroded. The silver's tarnished, so I just need to get rid of them and just hardwire it, which is doable. Alright, 1 kilohertz. Hurts so good. Come on, baby. Make it 1 kilohertz so good. Sometimes love don't feel like it should. Hertz 1 kilohertz so good. Test the resistance of the primary first. 30, say 30.1 and 34. We'll chuck a little bit on the top there for when she warms up. Radio from Australia with kangaroos, not from Australia where Mozart made symphonies. What? Austria. Right. Yeah, a lot of people say Austria instead of Australia. The old autocorrect gets them every time. Goody guitars, $2. That's enough to buy a coffee over here. Because we're in Australia where that's about $4 Australian. That brings me to the next thing, champions. So on Facebook, there's a group called JCM 2000, blah blah blah, Marshall user group, whatever. I chucked my have you been drinking? Well, not today. No. Why do I sound drunk? I'm always like this. Sorry, I was born this way. JCM 2000 forum on Facebook. I put up a link to my boards, the FYMs I showed you before, and everyone's, oh fuck, that's too expensive. I can buy an amp for less than that. Oh, I can buy a whole new amp. I can fucking. And I had to explain one by one to every cockhead on that fucking forum. I swear when people open Facebook, their IQ goes into 25% of what it normally is. People get so fucking stupid on that platform. They're all looking at that page, which has got a .au at the end, and assuming that it's in US dollars. I would love to make Maripost change the price according to your region, but A, it can't because it's shit, and B, even if it could, you still got to enter your region. Otherwise, how does it know what fucking currency to convert to? So I had to go through one by one and explain to these fucking idiots that A, there's no GST applicable to other countries other than Australia. So straight away, knock 10% off the price. So that brings them down to $4.95 Australian. And then halve that, and that's the American dollars, right? So once I explain that, they're like, oh, actually, that's pretty good. But then 5 minutes later, some other fuckwit would say the same thing. Oh, I could buy a new JCM 2000 with that. For starters, you're buying one with a shit board, or even if it is the Marshall replacement issue 20 board, they're still shit. But, you know, you're buying basically a new amp. So over here, a JCM 2000 DSL or TSL head will go for $1,200 to $1,500. They are often advertised for $1,800 to $2,000, but the actual sale price is usually around $1,200 to $1,500. So for 545 Australian, including GST, excluding shipping, that's about half the cost of the amp. But it's like a new amp. It's got new caps, new everything. The only thing that remains is the EQ and the rear connector board, and the low voltage supply and foot switching. And generally, you don't get issues on those boards unless someone's hacked it up. But yeah, once I explained to them that US dollars is about half the amount approximately, then that's your currency. They're like, oh, okay. But everyone else commented the same shit, and I had to go through one by one and explain to them because I couldn't just say, read the other comments, you fucking imbecile. Because they just don't. Yeah, anyway, that's social media for you. Everyone turns into a fucking idiot on it. Me included. Americans just seem to have no concept that any countries existing outside the US. Yeah, that's totally it. Like, they don't understand time zones. They don't understand different currencies. It's so weird. You're still selling it too cheap, I think. I think I've found the sort of sweet spot, Alex. We'll see if any competitors come out. If they do, I reckon they're going to do what a lot of people that haven't been in the trenches do and charge too little, and then they'll evaporate. They'll disappear. A lot of techs do this. They come out of the woodwork. Oh, you know, we do amp repair, blah, blah, blah. Look, I do guitar refrets for $200. And then they get overwhelmed with business and they realize they're so busy all the time, but they're still not making enough to get by. And then they just, instead of charging what it's actually worth, they just close shop. So it's like scintillation. It's like a Geiger tube, the guitar tech industry. You get these little sparks that appear and disappear in various regions, but the only ones that keep carrying on are the ones that actually charge enough to be sustainable. We do have overheads here. Some people don't have overheads if they work from home, so there's a bit of a cost difference there, so they can afford to do things a bit cheaper. But then you got the whole thing, like, you know, you've got someone operating out of their home. Do they have insurance? Do they, you know, what happens if their house gets broken into and your shit gets stolen? Blah, blah, blah. Do they have public liability? Are they paying tax? All that kind of stuff. A lot of the times the case is no, they are not. Anyway, side tangent. Jesus. All right, so we'll say 31 and 34 ohms. 31 and 34. So we've got 7 volts there, residual. Bring her up. Just run 6 watts from the wall. 7. Got a bit of inrush there with the heaters. 8 watts. No shorts. Let's turn the master down a bit because that's going to be fucking loud. So there's a master depth and presence control, but there's no master volume. You've got level on each channel. So let's set that at about 2 or 3. Power's drop back down to about 10 watts as the valves warm up. We're drawing about 14 watts at about 110 volts. No shorts yet. 240 volts, half as much copper. Yeah, pretty much. Unless it's universal, Alan, because then it's just the same two coils but in series. Ohms, it's not a good idea. It's the law. I watched Dredd. I meant to watch Judge Dredd, the 1995 version, for a bit of nostalgia last night, but I ended up purchasing the wrong movie and was forced to sit through the 2013 version. It was okay, but have you found these days that when you watch those dystopian things, there's a bit of tone coming through? When you watch these dystopian things, you tend to vote for the rebels these days rather than the fucking supposed good guys. Yeah, we've got some signal starting to conduct. 250. She's going to be hot on the plates. We're only sitting at 140 volts there on the mains. We're already at 270. Not a lot of current draw yet though. So we'll say 30. We'll split the difference. 32 ohms. We'll go up to 400 volts. We'll see where we sit. We've got channel switching. Yep. I think we're going to be sitting around 1 volt drop. So 1, shut up. 1 divided by 35. 28 milliamps by 400 volts. 11 watts. So we're already sitting around 60%. And we're not at full mains yet. The next thing is, it says on the side 220 volts. So I think this one is set for 220. Let's check what the heaters are doing. No DC heaters on this, which is surprising for a high gain amp. Three volts. 3 volts. So we're sitting at 6 volts AC. 6 volts. So there must be a, yeah, wired for that 6 volts on that heater, on the preamp, sorry. Let's give it a low frequency square wave. Sorry, I'll just check what voltage we're sitting at. Try not to short out the mains. That would be exciting. All right, we're sitting at 222 volts, which is what it says on the side, and we're sitting around 6.2 volts. So I think she's meant for 220 volts, not 250. So we might have to bias it to suit, and the heaters might be a little bit hot. So we'll give it a... Won't give you the mic yet. Tone control's working, but it feels like the taper of the pot is wrong, because it really doesn't do anything till it gets to like 1, 2. Then she opens right up. Alright, everything seems to be working as planned. What are we sitting at now? 1 volt, 414. What do I say? 35 times 414 divided by 20. So we're sitting at 60%, which is pretty healthy. We're pretty happy. Let's play some guitar. Let me plug in my Motu. 1 second. Ding. Yeah, the Stallone one. Yeah, that's what I wanted to watch. Stallone's a piece of shit these days, but back then he was pretty funny. I don't think he intended to be, but he was. Demolition Man was a classic. All right, so there's a grind and girth knob. I'm not sure exactly what they do. We're about to find out. I'll just mute myself for a sec. All right, so we've got some oscillation there at some settings. Not fantastic. But it is changing with the guitar settings, so I'd say that's probably, I don't know. It's not feeding back from the guitar because I'm stepping away from it and it's not changing. Dunno, it does things. Does stuff and things. So yeah, it all seems to be working. Bit of oscillation there. I think this is a very microphonic pickup, and I've still got a metal spring for the height adjustment, which I should change to silicon. But I kind of liked it. It's a bit microphonic. With some amps, it's really lively in that respect, like non-master volume Fenders. Ooh, one of the valves has gone a bit out. Let's pull that back a bit and see if we can balance them back out. But ooh, I think we've got a bad valve, champions. I think we've got a bad valve. She can't handle the heat. Might have to re-adapt this to suit like 6v6s or something. Not that they're much better these days. But I did hear something go plop then. I think that might be that valve on the way out. New old stock. A bit of hum there in triode mode. But I don't know how she's going to handle 240 volts. .4. 33? 34. 41 milliamps. Multiplied by 406. 16 watts divided by 20. That's running at 83 on one side and about 60 on the other. See if we can dial that back. They've got a balance and an overall bias. So we can balance it out. It just concerns me a bit that it was balanced when we started off more or less and then it went out a bit. They're not great after 250 volts, yeah. So I might suggest to him, look, see how they go, but probably suggest upgrading to a known valve rather than this random ex-Soviet shit. But all in all, she works. Just interesting to see what's happening out of Ukraine. To be honest, it's better built than a lot of fucking USA made shit. It's made by some dude in a basement, bomb shelter. Like they say, you got to piss with the cock you got. The preamp valves seem to be okay. Oh man, every time I walk, I remember my foot's fucked. I turned the lights off last night on the way to the bedroom and tried to see my way through the dark and ended up kicking the coffee table foot. And of course, because I built the coffee table, it's made out of fucking spotted gum with a density of like 6 kilos per cubic inch. What? What's next? Ah, so much to get through today, man. It's just, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. It's just more tunnel. Closed repairs, but everyone gets really upset and stands incredulously looking at you when you say that repairs are closed. And they're like, well, how am I going to get it fixed? Like, tell me, answer me. How am I going to fix it? If you're not going to fix it, who's going to fix it? I need answers. And it's just like, dude, I don't know. That's a you problem. I like to help customers out where I can, but only so many hours in the day, legends. Yeah, I was wondering when the ex-girlfriend jokes were going to come out. No one's got crabs anymore, champions. No one's got any pubes. Did you send them to 6? I would, except he's in fucking Japan. So he's no good either. And then you got Chris on the North Shore, but that's too far. You got Andrew down in Albion Park Rail, but that's too far. You got some guys in the city, but they're like exclusive special birthday boys that only look at certain jobs. You got another place in Western Sydney, but they're fucking weird. Apparently there's a cherry tree in the front yard of the shop or something, and he like abuses customers if they look at it because he thinks they're going to pick his cherries, so he's insane. What else have we got? There's guys in Windsor who take on like one job a month, so that's not much good to us. But they're fantastic techs. There's not a lot. There's probably like 2 guys you could properly trust in Sydney. 3 guys, sorry. In Western Sydney, anyway. I got annoyed this week, Brad, because someone decided to send me 2 joy accesses to mod without discussing anything with me first. Yeah, sometimes they just send shit. Not with you, Brad. We're all in the same boat with regard to too much work. Yeah, I know, Terry. I'm just speaking my mind. Just because you're in a bomb shelter doesn't mean you can't rock and roll. Fucking oath, Victor. That's a good thing. That's a good why are my words not working today? Philosophy. What do we got here, champions? Hey! We have a Baseman. I don't know how original it is, but it looks original. It looks like an original brown-faced Baseman, man. And that it's been modified into a combo, 1x12. I really hope they kept the cabinet for that, because it's probably worth a lot of money in its original state. But anyway, we can't change the past. So we've got a plywood cabinet. Looks pretty well made. And looks like it might have been made by a cabinet shop actually, rather than a home gamer. Got some reinforcement in the corners. Got a Legend. There you go, Legend. Eminence GB128. I don't know why they put this rubber condom around the magnets. I think it's so they don't get damaged if your reverb tank jumps out of the fucking mid-air and tries to stick to it. But yeah, I really hope they kept the original cabinet for this one, just for history's sake. You got the ground switch been removed with a plug there, which is good. It's got a 1 amp fuse, which is good. 3 amps overrated for our mains. Looks like the original transformer though. But we do have a 240 volt plug. It's definitely a Schumacher transformer. Philo Sophie, yeah, it's a Filipino Sophie, Philo Sophie. 6L6s, yeah, 5881s, 6L6 WGCs, wafer base Sovtex Not a big fan of them, but just like, you know, for the hardware situation, valve retainer situation. They're perfectly fine valves, but the bear claws like to dig into the glass. And they can be a bit of a pain to remove. Okay, this is getting a bit tedious. I'm getting the drill. It's getting a bit tedious. Don't talk about tedious. It's tedious, all right. See you, Chris. Lou Woods. Looks like a deluxe cabinet. Nah, it's like more upright. It's like almost perfectly square. Deluxe cabinets. It's almost like about a Princeton width, but the same height as width, which would be good. Like it's a nice size cabinet. It'd sound really good. It's sort of the sweet spot for a 12-inch speaker, a little bit oversized. This is my 30th anniversary Makita drill. Nah, it couldn't have been 30th. 50th anniversary? I don't know. They released some black coloured tools when they had an anniversary event back in 2010 or something. Jesus, we only got 30 minutes. We've only been through 1 amp. I'm gonna pick up the pace, champions. Probably should look at the job sheet, eh? Might help. What is the reported complaint? Inspect previous work, 50 Hz hum, studio client. Okie dokie. Previous work. No, you don't say. There's no stinkiness so far. Like a lot of stuff like the speaker connector is a good indication of how much someone cared. And that all looks reasonably good. Bit of tack soldering, but that's kind of par for the course. No one seems to understand that there's holes in an eyelet for a fucking reason. But anyway. I've been watching Japanese woodworking. Actually, that reminds me. Where's Six? He's supposed to be passing off the live stream to him when I finish. I've only got half an hour. Better touch base with him and see what he's doing. Has he scheduled a walkabout? Doesn't look like it. Might be just enjoying himself. Fuck, I'd love to be in Japan right now and not thinking about work. I'd love to be anywhere and not thinking about work, to be honest. I told myself I was going to have an actual weekend off this week, but kind of had that last week, but we were traveling for a family thing. And I think tomorrow is going to be no work, just hang with Michelle Day before netball season starts, because then I won't see her for fucking 6 months. Yeah, this would have been in a head cab, Rob. Like I say, I really hope they hang on to it, because it's probably a pretty valuable amplifier in its stock condition. Valuable. Let me just put this here and then I'll get rid of the cabinet and bring it back to the bench. Oh, I've really done a number on my foot. I think I just need to put it up and relax and sit there watching my smoker. How's that sound, champions? I got 2 racks of short ribs today. Or yesterday, day before, something like that. I'm going to cook them tomorrow. Fire up the smoking Sie Deutsch. And just sit around. Try and relax for once. What? Okie dokie. Okie dokie. As they say in Japan. Not looking too bad. Bit of a dent there. Fucking big dent there, actually. It's had an impact right there. Let's push the whole area of the chassis back, but I might be able to put a straight edge, just remove the fuse, put a straight edge on there and clamp it back. See if we can bend it back a bit. I'd like to see some longer lead there on the safety ground. Because what you want ideally is if you pull that cord out, you want it to have ground connected last. So if you've got the ability to pull the leads off their connections, you want the ground to be holding on the whole time. And eventually you want all the other leads to have exited the amp, and then if the ground does get ripped out, you want it to be the last thing that does get ripped out. So there's that. Also, I can't help but notice that it's not wired as per Australian standards. So it's going from mains to switch to fuse ring to fuse tip to transformer. That's the active. And then the neutral's connected just to the transformer. What you want to see is active to the fuse tip. Despite what Uncle Doug says, he hasn't thought about the situation adequately, so he is wrong. Sorry, simple as that. And then you want it to go from fuse ring to switch to transformer. The reason that Doug is wrong is because if you pull this out, okay, so this will beep. This will beep if I'm dead. All right. So if the fuse is good, you got your mains connected there. That's me touching 240 volts. All right, so I don't care what anyone else says. That's not good. Their argument was, yeah, but if the fuse is still held captive in there and you pull it out and the fuse tip is still touching, then you'll get shocked. And yeah, if the fuse is all the way in, obviously it's going to be touching the tip, just touching tips. But if the fuse is half hanging out, there's no connection there. And in here, there's a spring, and that takes the fuse with it. So if I'm holding on to the fuse, I physically can't come in contact with 240 volts until it's almost all the way in. And then your fingers can't touch it anyway. So the argument is, oh yeah, but what if that spring's not there? Well, that's a lot of what ifs. Whereas there's no what ifs if you're connected to the ring. There's just death. So yeah, you'll have to redo that. So looking at the safety ground, the wire is passing through the eyelet, including the insulation. You can see the insulation has gone through the eyelet. That's not how you do a solder connection. The hole there is for you to fold the wire around and then solder to the eyelet, not solder it, tack solder it down here. That's not going to let go, but still, why not do it right, you know? Not melt insulation in the process. Over here, you've got one of the ugliest ground connections I've ever seen. They haven't got an adequate iron, so that's cocky shit on a fence post territory. So we'll be redoing that. They've had to extend the wire there a little bit to get to the old solder joint. So this is probably a replacement power transformer by the looks of it. They've pulled it from an export model because you can see the unused wiring there. I also don't like, this is probably right because it's a cloth wire, but see you can pull the heat shrink off rather easily. See that? What you should do is fold the wire over like that and then heat shrink it. So now your heat shrink has a little bulb there that it can't get over. So we'll do that as well. This is all just standard shit, you know, that no one ever seems to understand or get right. We've got some seriously weird looking solder joints here on the heater. Like the very tip of the wire's just been tack soldered to the end of the eyelet. Same goes down here on the bias ground connection. I just don't know why no one can get soldering right. It's not fucking hard. It's not rocket science, eh? But no one seems to be able to do it. So we'll redo all that. Looks like they've pulled orange drops from another amp because they've extended the wire via tack soldering there instead of using... These come with really long leads from the factory, so they've reused some from another amp or another project for the phase inverter coupling caps there. So that's not brilliant either. Still holding on, but we don't like tack soldering here, despite what certain fucking Instagram pedal makers say. You've got the world's largest bypass caps. Fucking ridiculous. F&T, what are you thinking? I don't know why anyone would use these. They're not historically... I mean, you can see the cap's been changed, so it's not like keeping historical anything. Just fucking use these. Like... And these are pretty large for what they are. Two of them. Same job. Ridiculous. So yeah, I won't be changing them though because they're probably fine. We'll test them, but... what else have we got? Everything up the front end looks pretty stock, except there looks to be a X2 class cap soldered across the treble pot there. I'll have to see what that's all about. So again, that's probably just pulled from a box of parts, because why would you use an X2 class cap for that? It's not rated for DC anyway. But regardless, that's not got high voltage on it, so I don't know. These big elephant foots of solder. This is another thing I don't understand. Why J-hook a fucking eyelet connection? Because it's right there. Like, you unsalt the whole reason you J-hook... Well, I don't anyway, but the whole reason you would do it is so you don't have to pull a PCB, right? But here the eyelet is accessible from the top. So it literally takes you less time than fucking around making a J-hook than to do it properly. Don't understand. I've got some modifications here to the speaker wiring. Probably a replacement jack or something, but more tack soldering. Alright, we've got two replacement screen grid resistors, metal oxide 2 watt. Let's check their resistance. 470.9, 469.1, so they're intolerance. Just check the plates. Everything's looking pretty well in tolerance. Oh, sorry, I zoomed right in. Hey! Everything's looking pretty in tolerance. Let's just check. I'm assuming they would have recapped the doghouse because they've changed the bypass caps, so chances are high that they've done some work in here. You never know. Might have to piss off. Oh, that screw's loose. I might have to piss off shortly, champions, because I've got some stuff to sort out before the shop opens. Invoicing and stuff for people that are coming to pick up their stuff today. Meant to do it last night, but did not. JJ's. Alright, so they're looking visually good. It looks like 0205011. Is that 2011? So I suspect if we've got increased levels of hum, we may have a bad output valve. Let's give it a little bit of juice and see what happens. Safety standards is mains to tip. Yep. Just be careful of that primary wiring there where we removed the insulation. So essentially I just want to determine whether or not new valves are required. Because that'll give us a rough estimation of cost, but I think labour wise we know pretty much what we've got to do. I do love these amps, the Basemans. Quintessential rock and roll. Give it 400 hertz. Not quite as ear piercing. Meters. Yeah, it's like a Bogner Shiva that takes a 32 amp fuse once the Sharpie wears off. Yeah. I forget, what do they do there? How did they get that wrong? They did something and it looks like 32 amp and people just go, okay, and put a 32 amp fuse in there. I remember thinking of you last time one came in, lol. Overhype caps, $10, having them fitted, $200, returning to the shop after blowing tubes and OT, priceless. Yeah. When I bought my 2203, been retubed with rubies which are burning up and oh fuck. Man, my foot is really fucked. I think I've done some serious damage. I might have to go get that checked out because I can't move the toes. Fuck. Can't move me toes. 3 for EU, 2 for US. Yeah, that's right. And then they put it next to each other instead of above and beyond or with a gap or something. Someone thought they were very smart there on the silk screening. Right, champions, resistance, 50 ohms, 47.9, 50, close enough for us. Let's get another meter, couple of probies. What? So it's got the hole there for the rectifier valve, but this is hang on, what? Hang on, am I going crazy? Where are the fucking rectifiers? Wait a minute. Hello, Bueller? Oh, they're on the board up the front. I'm expecting to see him over here. Never mind. Alright, so we've got the 6 in series. Alright, I'm just an idiot. Told ya. It's been a while since I've looked at a Baseman. Alright, let's go for it. No shorts. At least not at that voltage. $10. 15 watts. Yeah, they're on the bias border. Yeah, it's been a while since I looked at one of these, Lyle, and last time I did it was valve rectified. Got some conduction. Getting there. Got some signal. Drawing 26 watts from the wall. Oh, it's very cold. Only drawing 43 watts. Do have some hum there. What ripple are we seeing? Oh, fucking phone. You open today. Try using Google. Right, that seems insanely low ripple there for the phase inverter node. What we got on the B+? 1.4 volts. Because it's biased so cold. So being biased so cold and it's still got some hum. Sounds like 50 hertz hum. And we do have a grounded center tap on the heater. It's not coming from the... There's some crackling happening. You have to be careful because we're taking the dog house off. Pretty low level. A lot of that's probably coming from the lighting. So what I might do is give the customer some options for this one to just bring it up to my standards. And then maybe do a bit more question asking. We could probably reduce the hum a little bit, but it's pretty quiet as is, to be honest. And a lot of that's probably just because it's unshielded. So we might ask a bit more and just see if we can find out what situation it was humming in. We'll test the mains lead, earth and everything as well. You know, pat test and whatnot. But yeah, the just a tiny bit of sort of buzziness, but I think one of those preamp valves is starting to go a bit funky as well, because there is a bit of crackling there as well. But what we might do is do a artificial center tap on this one with 100 ohm fusible resistors to ground instead of the grounded center tap, but we want to redo this whole ground here and everything anyway. Oh, writing on the chassis, that's lovely. Just realised they've written bias notes on the chassis down there, which isn't. Just not a fan of writing anything on the chassis. It's not my belonging, so I don't like marking it. Anyway, champions, you only got through 2 amps. That was pretty pitiful, wasn't it? But I've got to piss off and do some stuff before we open. I've got 10 minutes. But I'll take it, Squeezy Legends. I'll catch you guys tomorrow on Lyle's stream. In the meantime, let me just check if Six is doing anything live. It doesn't look like he is. Let's just let him live life instead. And I'll catch us tomorrow morning, bright and early, for Lyle's stream. So thanks for joining us, Legends. Hit the like button. You know what to do. I'm going to get back during the rest of the weekend. Besides hanging out with Shell, I'm going to try and do some edited videos and some of the stuff I've got coming up, so you can get some regular edited video happening again. So take it easy, Legends. If you can't be good at it.